People who commit cyberbullying and harassment are even more unwelcome than spammers and are given the same treatment.
When a narcissist spreads gossip among various people who give her supply, people she has tried to connect to one another in a supposed big, beautiful friendship, things can go wrong and fast. This is how Ocean's and Amanda's association developed a crack in it that could never be fully repaired, and things went downhill from there. It was the height of the COVID pandemic, and Amanda and Ocean had been chatting online for about a year and a half. During that time, Amanda kept crying on Ocean's shoulder about various drama and people from a toxic online community. She also seemed to like hanging around Ocean and made it clear she was terrified of losing her. Amanda manipulated Ocean, making her feel obligated to be there at her every beck and call by telling her that someone in the past had caused her to nearly commit suicide over some internet drama. Ocean had some big concerns over this and wondered what she got herself into, but she didn't feel she could back out of anything now, lest she be the cause of the next suicide attempt. For Ocean's part, at first, it felt good to seem needed and appreciated, and when Amanda wasn't stressing over drama, she chatted and laughed, and the two seemed to get along for the most part. But Ocean put up with far more than she should have, or that most people would. Amanda soon became too much. She just never seemed to get enough of Ocean and kept making extreme demands on her time and attention. Amanda would call Ocean many times, all through the day and night, every day and night. At the same time, she would complain bitterly to Ocean about how people had been doing exactly the same thing to her. Because of Amanda's fragile ego, Ocean didn't feel she could point this out to her. Ocean didn't mind all her time being taken up by Amanda at first, especially since she really had nothing else to do and nowhere to go because of COVID. But there were problems. Amanda would call Ocean and fall apart so badly over something seemingly minor this or that person said or did, and Ocean was hard-pressed, trying to get her to calm down. There had been a bully who apparently terrorized Amanda through religious psychological abuse. He also spammed her email. Amanda turned to Ocean for help, and Ocean enabled her to get out from under that bully's thumb for a time. Years later, Amanda turned against Ocean and went back to her bully, all because of Star Wars of all absurd things, but the late 2020 incident was an early indication of her shallowness and how she was far more in love with friendship as a status rather than being a real friend. In early June 2020, some guy had made a very unfriendly and rude comment on an email list. It was about a potential Zoom meeting, and he had said he wouldn't attend if Amanda would be there. He never even had the decency to explain himself properly, and Ocean had thought he and Amanda had cleared things up ages ago, so Ocean was put out with him for this behavior. Amanda acted as if the world had just ended. She called Ocean constantly and boo-hooed, and nothing Ocean said to her could make her stop. During this whole time, Ocean did show support for Amanda, telling her that what the guy said was nasty and uncalled for. Amanda wore Ocean out, blubbing on and on about it until Ocean finally gave in under the pressure and confronted the guy about it. Once he and Amanda cleared the air, Amanda was all happy, joy again, as if nothing had happened, and she expected Ocean to be as well. But Ocean was exhausted, and she just wanted to be left alone, and she did not feel she could tell Amanda that. Every time she tried making herself unavailable by phone, Amanda would send frantic emails that showed up on her computer. Keeping all of this in mind, Amanda permanently damaged their relationship, such as it was, in late 2020. One of Amanda's other friends from the toxic community hurled a comment at Ocean that was far worse than the Zoom meeting comment. Amanda was nowhere near the caring and supportive person that Ocean had been to her. In October 2020, Amanda's friend Avery launched an unwarranted personal attack on Ocean through text. It said,
"I know I'll regret saying this, but I don't know how you can be so indifferent about her well-being. Avery, I'm not indifferent about her well-being. I don't want you ever to accuse me of that again.
Amanda would not tell Avery off about his abusive text, and she did a bad job trying to reach out to Ocean. She tried to convince Ocean she cared for her, but it just didn't come out that way.
I know you were busy today, so I will leave you be.
Thanks, I really do appreciate this. I'm not doing well since what happened the other day, and I need to send something I'm afraid will throw you for a loop, but I'm not trying to be mean and I'm not ditching you. Avery has caused so much stress, and there is no way to pretend everything's fine. After that incident, we both need time to ourselves. I'll express it all in an email.
I'm sorry. Avery is still my friend, but I can't abandon him. He did, however, say that he is glad that I have you as a friend. He feels guilty about the misunderstanding.
And he damn well should. I didn't believe that for a second. If Avery was glad Amanda had me as a friend, he never would have hurled such a grievous insult. He only claimed to be glad, etc., just to save face and still try making Amanda see him as this benevolent hero guy, and thereby keep her under his insidious influence. He was actively trying to split Amanda and me up. I could feel it, but she couldn't seem to see it and still wanted us all to just be friends. But that would never happen, not after that highly offensive text Avery sent me. That was harassment, abuse, an unwarranted personal attack, and I was not letting it slide. So I had to write Amanda a desperate letter, letting her know that I did not need her defending Avery, even if she was also telling me she wanted to stay my friend. It really hurt, the fact I even had to explain to her at all, that I have feelings just like anyone else, and they get hurt too.
From Ocean Elf date, Sunday, October 11th, 2020 at 2:41 p.m. Subject:
Confronting some hard facts. Avery.
I'm sorry to have to write this difficult letter. I'm not setting out to hurt you, though I'm sure it will, just because I think we should spend a little time apart. I'm not abandoning you. By your efforts to contact me, I realize you haven't abandoned me either. But when you go on about how great you think Avery is after he abused me so terribly, I really couldn't be sure. You can't defend the person who abused me to me and expect me to push it under the rug and hold my feelings back and pretend it's all good. There are some serious things to get out. I have been far from well emotionally ever since Avery hurled that horribly abusive personal attack at me, and you just poo-pooed my feelings away like they were nothing. You probably haven't even thought of this, and may not even be aware of what some of your actions in these situations can do. It is time you get your head out of the sand and face the facts. No one is perfect, not even Avery. My hurt feelings are not going away, not anytime soon, not seeing how I feel now. Like you, I can't just shut my hurt off and pretend it isn't there. I can't hold it in or back any longer. I was walking around set to explode all day yesterday, very near to tears many times, wondering if it was all worth it. I nearly worked myself up into a tension headache during the night, and had to go outside to get some cool air, and finally slept it off. I realize you are still trying to contact me, but you just want to pretend it's all good. I can't do that. And since I can't go to you for support this time, I had to tell Mom what was going on since she can tell when I'm very upset. Mom said I looked very troubled, very hurt, and agitated. And it isn't just Avery who hurt my feelings. You did too. Your actions and attitude have made me feel tossed aside for Avery. Avery surprised and offended me badly. You added to that and hurt me tremendously by dismissing my feelings and going on about how Avery is still somehow good, even though he called me indifferent to your well-being. That is not just a gaffe or an utterance of a typical insult such as you moron that can be laughed off and gotten over. It was a grievous personal attack. It was totally uncalled for, ignorant, and vicious. And it is a monstrous lie. If I didn't care about your well-being, I never would have made friends with you and spent so much time chatting on FaceTime with you. I wouldn't have been with you day and night when you needed a friend or helped you get free from the likes of Raymond, Ulysses, Marvin, Maheen, and Jess. And now we have this situation, but this time, whether you meant to or not, you have alienated me, made me feel like nothing, unappreciated, insecure, and just plain hurt. It all started with your making such a big deal over your phone. You went on and on about it via FaceTime with me. I said it was your decision and just wished you would stop making such a huge deal about it already. So then you did something truly eye-roll-worthy and tried to get everybody under the sun involved in that phone issue, cataholics, campfire, all because you seem to be facing some huge dilemma about whether to put your freaking phone on Do Not Disturb, or just leave it off. OMG, here we go again.
Everybody, Amanda here. I just wanted to let you guys know that today is the day before my surgery tomorrow. I will either leave my phone on and put it on Do Not Disturb, or I will turn my phone off completely and just focus on getting better. But I'll ask my mom what she thinks I should do because I'm not sure. I think leaving it on but putting on Do Not Disturb is a good idea. People who are in my favorites can still get through if my phone is on Do Not Disturb. If my mom needs to get in touch with me, she can call my phone or she can call me on the home phone. So, anyway, yeah, I'm actually pretty sure that I'm going to feel great after coming out of the anesthesia. If I'm anything like my mom, she usually feels great after coming out of anesthesia. So, we'll see how this goes.
Amanda, why are you just keeping on about this? I mean, isn't it the phone thing? I mean, you've been going over this and over this and over this. Why don't you just turn the phone off when you're in there? You're not going to be needing it.
Really, for a 34-year-old, an adult, that should not have been a big deal. If you're old enough to decide to get that particular surgery, you are certainly old enough to decide what you want to do with your own freaking phone. Other people had various suggestions, but in the end, that was up to you, and there was no need to drag everyone into it, especially since you would eventually be doing what you wanted with the phone anyway, regardless. It never even occurred to me that you would actually go and blab to Avery what David's suggestion was. I found that out when Avery messaged me, basically bossing me around. He told me David suggested you just turn the phone off, and since Avery disagreed with David's suggestion, he actually tried to pressure me into siding with him on the great phone debate. I didn't. I said it was your decision, and that you wouldn't need the phone during the operation anyway. Avery got his hackles up about that because there had been a time he needed his phone on right now or yesterday because he got into some trouble during his fitness training. Well, that's not the same as being in surgery and recovery where you would be monitored very closely and taken care of. But when I agreed with David and said the phone thing was your own decision and wasn't such a big deal, Avery exploded.
I know I'll regret saying this, but I don't know how you can be so indifferent about her well-being.
Where the hell does Avery get off with this abusive crap? That offends me beyond belief. I don't care what kind of bad day he might have had or how worried he was about you, he had no excuse and no call and no justification for that. Especially if you ever told him about how I stayed up nights and days with you, helping you through the Zoom conflict or every time Maheen or every time Ulysses or every time Jess or every time Raymond or Andrew or Addison etc. had upset you. And it's possible. Apparently you tell him everything. You didn't need to get every blinking person involved in the silly phone thing. Let alone carry tales to Avery about what David suggested or anything I said. It just wasn't necessary. Far as I know, none of us know Avery, so you shouldn't have spread what's said on our IO group to him. And this is where things really hit the skids. I don't know if you sicked Avery on me intentionally or if he just felt the need to shoot off his mouth all on his own, but I will not put up with that or let it go until I'm through being upset. What poured salt into that wound and offended me even more was how you tried to hand me only a token appearance of support with stuff like, I can't/won't abandon you or Avery. What the hell am I supposed to say to that? You sure didn't make me feel our friendship was secure anymore. You should have left it at I won't abandon you, but that wasn't really the issue anyway. The issue was Avery just trashed me, and you didn't seem all that bothered by it. Then you went on with this business about how me and Avery were Christians, so surely I would calm down and forgive. No. That made me feel dismissed, uncared for, taken for granted. Forgive such a wrong-headed, deliberately hurtful character assassination? No. Avery should have acted like a Christian and not hurled that abuse at me in the first place. He does not have a monopoly on caring and had no excuse to knock another person down to get more caring brownie points from you. Caring is fine, naturally, but he's sickening about it, treating you like some sort of China princess doll who would shatter at a glance. So your Christian/forgiving comment was countered by my reminding you that we were also human. That was my way of telling you that nobody's perfect, not even Avery, and even my feelings get seriously hurt sometimes. You threw that "we are human" thing back in my face later on when I still expressed upset with Avery, and I was trying to show you that you were hurting my feelings by wanting to just poof this all away. Well, you started it. If you hadn't blabbed to Avery, none of this would have happened. When I said Avery was abusive and what he said was wrong, you tossed this back at me. We're only human. That was cruel. Avery was abusive, and you made me feel like you cared way more about him than you did me. You might not have meant to be spiteful, but that's sure how it felt. So I'm supposed to be the Christian one forgiving all things Avery, and he should be allowed to run roughshod over my well-being and anyone else's just to show you how much he cares for you. You were acting no better than Jessica, who still insisted Raymond was cool because he never did anything to her. To heck with everyone else he abused, especially you. Or Marvin, who still loved Maheen even though Maheen bullied him and everyone but Raymond and Bob. What you did is no different than Jessica or Marvin. You made me feel trashed. Then this whole "I think we should just put this to rest business. Oh, shut it. No. This is not being put to rest, not after what feels like indifference from you to what Avery said to me, and your seeming indifference to the way it makes me feel when you sing great guy Avery's praises to the sky after he said that insanely harsh and unfair comment. Makes me sick. Quote, "I'll never abandon you, or Avery." End quote, gives me the impression that you were more worried about what Avery thinks of you than how atrocious his comment was and how I feel about it and your reaction, what there was of it. When I kept saying you have other friends who care for you, and how I care for you, I was trying to tell you to look beyond Avery and realize you have friends who not only care for you, but for one another, and we would never toss such abusive crap at anyone. But you kept always defending Avery by countering, quote, "So does Avery." That made me feel as if you were telling me that we weren't enough, or good enough. Avery was the one who really counts. Yeah, I know, apparently, according to you, Avery walks on water. Then you kept up with this "I'm sure you'll calm down by Christmas." What the heck does freaking Christmas have to do with this? And don't poof this away and patronize me. I'll calm down when I'm good and ready. Even your whole "I'm sure it will all blow over" stuff. No, it won't. Not after Avery's initial insult and then your insensitivity toward me over this whole damn thing. The fact Avery blocked me shows he's a child. He's the one who made that freaking stupid comment in the first place. I am justified in blocking him. But I don't even know why you felt it necessary to tell me he blocked me. Why should I care? But it did indicate that he doesn't think he did anything wrong. And it only affirmed my own decision to block him as well. Remember that Zoom meeting conflict last summer? There was no way you could just let it rest and pretend everything was fine. You and I were on FaceTime, as we always were, but you cried so much and I stayed with you day and night, trying to comfort you, just as I had so often before when someone had upset you. I went to bat for you, since you were so devastated, and I could only guess what the matter was, but it took some unpleasant emails to get to the bottom of it, and things worked out. If you actually talked to Avery about what was said, as you told me, quote, "Ocean is upset, she needs time to cool off and she cares for me but just in a different way." End quote, that's not gonna cut it. Especially if you kept trying to appease Avery with, quote, "I'm sure she'll come around." End quote, or anything like that. No. I won't. The least you could have done was point out exactly what was wrong with his arrogant judgment and abusive comment. If I didn't care about your well-being, and to think I actually might have to point any of this out, I never would have stuck around when Maheen, when Raymond, when Jess, when Marvin, when Andrew pulled their crap. You should have thought about all of that as soon as I showed you what he said, and realized how utterly trashy it was of him. I shouldn't even have to point this all out in the first place. I'm not telling you to abandon Avery, I never said that. You brought up that idea. But if you really care about me and you think he was abusive, you shouldn't be afraid to tell him off, but good. You don't owe Avery a thing just because he gave you text adventures and a keyboard and puts on a good show of white knighting for you. Why is he excused for saying horrible things and I'm not allowed to express my upset? You sure haven't tippy-toed around me over this. You made it clear how loyal you want to be to Avery. But you also need to stop tiptoeing around him as well. And if you end up losing him over this, it will not be your fault. It will be his own and his loss, and you will only have an even stronger friendship with me and the others on our lists. What people on our lists say and do is none of his business anyway. If you brave up and tell him what's what, and he comes around and apologizes, I will accept that, but I won't be his friend. I don't want to risk putting either of us through this kind of thing with him again. No one can cause me to abandon you except you. I've told you that again and again. I said if you did something cruel, that could cause me to leave. That includes being cruel by defending someone who judged me so wrongly and harshly and trying to pretend it's all nothing and that I should just get over it. Avery didn't attack me for being a fan of Les Mis. He called me indifferent to your well-being. A serious personal attack. I don't think you were intentionally cruel this time, just very careless, and spreading he said she said's around to people who don't even know each other all over a freaking phone. You really have to learn to stop doing that. The reason I haven't harped on this before is because it just never occurred to me that you would tell Avery what David or I said about anything. That confounds and hurt me too. It made me feel betrayed. You want everyone getting along way too much, and you can't accept it when someone has reason to dislike your Avery. And he gave me ample reason to dislike him after this. I want to make this clear, I'm not abandoning you even now, not yet. What happens will depend on you. If you dismiss my upset like that ever again when someone has said something monstrously inaccurate and abusive, I will take a hike. Because what Avery did was no better than Len or Andrew or even Maheen. But I need time to myself, to try and heal. I don't feel I can do that if you only want to chit-chat and pretend nothing's really wrong. Something is very wrong, and I can't do role-playing with you right now, because my heart just isn't in it. And you need time away from me to think about things yourself. You also need time to heal from your operation. I don't know how much time is needed. But when I feel stronger again, I'll pick up when you call. If you are at all mad at Avery for the way he treated me, let him have it. If you aren't, well then, have a nice life. It's me you need to prove yourself to now, and I want to be a good friend to you like I always have been. Please don't let Avery ruin it for both of us. Ocean Elf.
I literally feel like I'm about to cry. I don't know why. I'm missing you. It hurts. I feel like I want to tell Avery how I feel. I feel like I want to let him have it. I'm sorry about what happened. I love you dearly, and I can't abandon you. I wouldn't do that, even if someone forced me to. I won't be gone long. Hopefully you won't either. I love you way too much.
I still wasn't hearing any outrage at what Avery said, but I assured Amanda I still loved her. And of course she sent another message wanting to talk.
Need someone to talk to you right now. There's no one around at the moment. Mom asked me what happened. I actually forwarded you something that I had just sent to Avery. Permission to FaceTime?
Here's what she sent to Avery.
Avery, there's something you should know. I feel like I want to cry right now. What you said to Ocean on Thursday was unacceptable, uncalled for, and extremely inexcusable. Ocean will not calm down. She won't even talk to me now because of this.
Yuck. That sure wasn't much of a chew out. All she really seemed to care about that I wasn't talking to her. Never mind that Avery had said something really abusive, but I was probably lucky she did even that much, such as it was. Our friendship was never quite the same after that, even if she thought it was. It turned out Avery made that comment out of pure jealousy. He hated me for taking up so much of Amanda's time and basically stealing his thunder, something I never intended to do. Besides, it was Amanda who wanted to spend all that time with me. 99% of the time we talked, it was Amanda who called me. If she talked to Avery about me and said nice things and that made him mad, well, I never told her to talk to everyone about me, especially not to him.
Amanda's messages did not make much sense. She always added, "and I don't know why," after saying she felt like crying or she was missing Ocean or anything like that. You're crying because you miss someone. You miss someone because you want them around when they are not. No reason to ask why. Ocean also makes a good point. Amanda never did tell Avery off about his terrible comments, only her usual generic unacceptable, unforgivable, inexcusable, the trifecta soundbite she put in every rant she made against anyone.
Unacceptable, inexcusable, and completely unforgivable. Unforgivable, unacceptable, and unexcusable. Unacceptable, unforgivable, and completely inexcusable.
Eventually, Amanda and Avery split because Avery couldn't make her dump Ocean. Ego bruised, he dumped Amanda. But that wasn't the end of it. Amanda's anger at Avery turned out to be over Star Wars. She was far more mad at him for ruining her Christmas experience by sending her a Star Wars doll with an ulterior motive than she was upset over any abusive things he said to and about Ocean. Amanda made many rants and posts in chat groups about the ending of hers and Avery's friendship, and what he did to Ocean was just an afterthought. It was Luke Skywalker that was the most important to Amanda.
Hey everybody, Amanda here. I am up literally at stupid o'clock. For the past couple nights I haven't been able to sleep. I'll let Ocean explain why. I'll just say that on Sunday night I had something happen that actually I'm relieved it did. But, yeah, anyway, I'll let her explain. My allergies are just acting up. Ugh.
But Ocean was sick of Amanda pulling this, I'll let her tell you, nonsense after just starting to tell some drama story about herself. Ocean didn't fall into Amanda's trap anymore.
In short, we got one more toxic person out of our lives.
Ocean recounted the abusive behavior toward her and how it made her feel, but she didn't mention his name, nor did she go anywhere near the most important topic to Amanda at all, Star Wars. Not satisfied with that, Amanda continued the discussion, whereas Ocean just wanted it out of the way. But Star Wars was involved, so Amanda just couldn't let it go.
Yeah, he actually sent me Boba Fett first, the Disney exclusive Talking Boba Fett first, and then after I specifically told him, do not send me Luke Skywalker, he goes and sends me Luke. And when he said, and I quote, I had the Luke Skywalker X-Wing pilot shipped to the school, I was thinking, oh no, he didn't. But luckily, my mom let me open Luke and have him. I'm glad she did. She was going to send it back, but she let me have him. And I told my mom, I said, listen, I did not ask this person to do this. He did it himself. So yes. Yes, I'm grateful that I have Luke, but how I got him, I don't approve of.
Amanda was mad at Avery over the doll, not over his mistreatment of Ocean. Amanda made Ocean feel like she was playing second fiddle to a Star Wars action figure. Amanda never even gave Ocean's feelings any thought before Ocean had to point them out to her, just like the situation with the abusive text Avery had sent Ocean during Amanda's great phone dilemma. And that was the beginning of the end of their friendship.